double checking that it's a noun, and then click the button. West. The West. Okay, the West. What comes to mind? The West. So the very first thing that comes to mind is the Wild Wild West, which is interesting. Yeah, West. I guess it's West America mostly because, you know, the Westerns come out of America. But then also the West Coast here in New Zealand is a beautiful place. And the West Coast. We say to the coast. Are you going over to the coast? Meaning the West Coast. Even though we live at the East Coast. What else? West. Just a compass, maybe? Compass. But yeah, the West. So I have actually been in the West US. So I've been in Arizona, Nevada, and California. So I think that's the Western USA. Unfortunately, didn't have a lot of time there, only like 2 weeks. But that was really nice. So yeah, pretty cool place to go and have a look at. And I just loved the kind of nature, how different the natural features there are just so amazing, how different it is. And you got these crazy different landscapes. You know, we started in Las Vegas, and so driving through the desert and Death Valley and crazy landscapes there, and just love that. There's a bit of like actual desert, like with desert with sand dunes and stuff, and then there's just flat, these flats, the salt flats, and so cool. And then you go up the mountains in I think isn't it Nevada? Yeah, you go up the Sierra Nevada, the mountains to Lake Tahoe. It's really, really cool. And you've got the Yosemite National Park there, with crazy wildlife and bears and things. I didn't see any bears, but just the difference. Las Vegas really hot and Death Valley hot during the day, cold at night. And then once we went up to Lake Tahoe, there was a bit of snow, and just really cool difference. And then on the coast, it was, we went to to San Francisco and down to Los Angeles, and on the coast, it's actually a bit like the coast here, which is crazy. So it's a bit like our west coast here we have on the South Island of New Zealand, which is magical as well. It's so green because there's a lot of it rains quite a bit, and there's a lot of moisture in there always. Not always, but a lot of moisture in the air. So that's why it just gets so green. It's not very dry, right? And that makes for like nice rainforest. This rainforest feel. And then you've got the wild coast, the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. Actually, it's not the Pacific on that side in New Zealand, but it's the ocean. It's this. It's the Tasman Sea technically, but it. If you would just go in a straight line, as far as I think, you've just got the Southern Ocean and the Indian Ocean there, so it's a lot of ocean. And on our side here, it's the Pacific, which you've got in America on the west coast as well, the Pacific. So if we went here, we could go in a straight line from basically my house to Los Angeles or San Francisco in a straight line probably without hitting any islands, which is pretty cool. There are islands somewhere in the middle, but you would probably not actually. I should draw it out on a map. But yeah, I like the differences just because it's in the west and there are mountains. The climate is similar, and here on the South Island of New Zealand, and then in northwestern America. Yeah, and then Western, you're thinking, these cowboy kind of cowboy movies, and Native Americans. Pretty. Yeah, I don't know. I love. Sometimes I liked watching that, as I was a kid. But yeah, don't have. Yeah, when we had Fasching or Carnival in Germany, that people dress up, and I was dressing up as a cowboy quite a bit because of these movies, and yeah, it was pretty common for the older people back then to watch these Western movies. Cowboys doing shootouts and cowboys becoming friends with the Native Americans. They call them Indians, right? Which is kind of not right. I now say Native Americans because they're not from India. That's what the Portuguese and the English, I think, thought when they got to America. They thought they're in India, right? Because they wanted to find another way to India, to travel to India to buy all these. I hope to buy the resources, right? Like herbs and spices and things, and other things. Yeah. So often people here don't go to the West Coast because of the weather, or people don't want to live there because it's quite isolated. You don't really have cities there. Here, at least here on the South Island, you've got a couple places like Greymouth and Westport, but they are pretty small compared to other cities, and so you do feel a little bit isolated there. And people who do like being isolated, they actually go there quite a bit. And but yeah, I really like spending time there. But it rains quite a bit, so I guess that there's always a bit of a risk, if you book a holiday or something, that if you go there, that it's gonna rain quite a bit. We were there a few times now, and we have been lucky, especially on one holiday. We were really lucky. There was, I don't know, maybe one rainy day or something, and we spent over a week there, and it was so nice. It was in summer. It was hot, and that was just the most beautiful time we had there. It was amazing. My mom was there too, and we had a really nice time. Lots of sandflies. Like if you know the area, you know about the sandflies definitely, because they bite. They bite tiny chunks out of your skin, and it's not nice. And they that gets itchy as well, and it's So you want to take a lot of insect repellent, citronella type stuff. Luckily, at the hostel we stayed, they sold that stuff. And they gave us some extra because it was really bad at that time, because they love moisture, which is always there's a lot of moisture. You know, there's rivers and there's a lot of moisture in the forests and stuff, and then they also get more active when it's hot. So moist and hot, you got a sandfly situation right there, and it's not fun. They're trying to eat you alive. Luckily, they're very small. Yeah. So basically that just makes me feel like holiday, really, if I think of the West. And maybe I think of a compass as well, because you know you've got the directions there, the northwest, east, and south. So and compass navigating is I always like that, especially because of my interests. You know, with I like maps, and I like, you know, treasure maps especially, and there's always a compass on there, right? So yeah, I've always been interested in that, and so wherever I am, normally I know which direction, or at least if I don't know the direction, where's north, I wonder where am I, where's north, because I always have the feeling I need to know which direction I'm looking. But it's actually pretty easy to figure out, right? If you know where the sun goes up, where the sun goes down, and what path it normally takes during the day, then you can figure that out pretty quick. Especially if you've then got the time as well, then you figure that out with just the sun. Otherwise, features in the on the horizon, you know, if you know where some kind of mountain range is, or if you're by the sea and you kind of know which direction the sea, on what side of the country you are. If you're at the west coast, you know that the sea is normally on the west side, so that's an indication there. But yeah, the sun is a pretty good indicator. All right, I think that's it for today for the West. That's all I could think of right now about the West. I can probably go on and talk about other things, treasure maps and stuff, and maps in general, and and probably more about how I want to go more on holidays. I like travel, so yeah. All right,